This week, prominent business, faith, law enforcement, and government leaders from 4 Mountain West states gathered right here in Salt Lake City for the Mountain West Summit, Forging a New Consensus on Immigrants and America. They came to discuss and develop a pragmatic approach to the nation's immigration challenges. One of the experts that spoke yesterday was Ali Noorani, Executive Director of the National Immigration Forum. Ali, thanks for taking some time.
Thanks for having me.
I'd like to start by talking about the Utah Compact. We're coming up on the 1-year anniversary. It'll be November 11th. I think it's fair to say that was a game changer here in Utah. And I don't think that people in Utah really understand how much it changed the discussion across the country. Can you give us an idea from your perspective how it changed the game across the country?
The Utah Compact changed the way America talks about immigration. From Utah to Maine, from Florida up to Washington. There's no doubt in my mind that one of the most important things that happened in the country over the last year around immigration was the Utah Compact. And for example, since that signing about a year ago, for about 6 months, almost every week, we were finding a press clipping from some part of the country juxtaposing the Utah Compact against Arizona. So as the data started to come out that Arizona's economy was faltering because of that terrible Arizona law that was just undermining its economy, same article you'd see Utah is saying and doing the right thing. So it was just an amazing way for a state like Utah to lead the country forward.
I think one of the keys of the Utah Compact is that we built on things that everyone could agree on. There's not a lot in there that's really objectionable. Would you agree, Ali, that the rhetoric on the immigration issue presents us as much more divided as a community than we really are? In other words, do the 10% on each side get to talk the loudest and they're talking over everybody else?
Well, the beauty of the compact is that it really focused on those 5 basic principles, those 5 fundamentals on the economy, family, law enforcement, the role of the federal government to abide by the Constitution. Those are the things that America was built on. And what happens is that the Utah Compact provides a way from the extreme on the left and the extreme on the right to build a bridge. And that bridge is the compact that says to the 60% in the middle, this is a practical solution. And this is a reasonable, rational debate, conversation that we can have about our immigration system so that a solution serves our nation's interests, our state's interests, and at the end of the day, the interests of every person and their family.
As a business organization, our contribution to this discussion has always been principally an economic one, yet we understand that there is a human element to this and a need to treat people with dignity and respect. The immigration discussion always seems to get off the rails when the emotions get too high. So I'm wondering if you can give me some insight on how you think we can balance the necessary emotional element to the discussion with the business and economic argument of why this path forward is a benefit to us economically.
Well, it's a balance between how do we feel about immigrants and immigration, and then what do we need in terms of immigrants and immigration. And at the end of the day, what we all continue to remember is that this is a nation of immigrants. It's a nation of laws, and laws need to grow and change who we are as a country. But as a nation of immigrants, immigrants are our neighbors, are the kids that our kids go to school with. And that came out of actually the summit when you had business and law enforcement and faith from Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, and Utah here in Salt Lake. So you acknowledge the emotion, acknowledge the values of ourselves as a country, but then weigh that against, okay, what is the economic impact to the state, to the city, to our individual households and businesses. And at the end, you have a formula that says we treat people fairly and humanely, we do it in a way that serves our economy and our own self-interest, and lo and behold, we have an immigration solution that moves us forward.
And ultimately, what we have so far are states looking at solutions at a state level. But the compact itself recognizes in the very first principle that this is a federal issue. So how do we, as we come up on the 1-year anniversary, how do we pivot and say the states are looking at what they can do, but this is really an issue for the federal government? How do we get the federal action? How do we take that next step?
Well, I think Natalie here with the Salt Lake Chamber put it best at the summit, where she said there's an opportunity to actually create a consensus across the Mountain West states. So again, Colorado, Wyoming, Idaho, and Utah, to have a joint message, a collective message to our congressional delegation that says, you know what? This is the type of immigration reform that we need. And that's based completely on the leadership of the Utah Compact and the very courageous step taken by Utah leadership to really, frankly, set the bar pretty high and challenge, whether it's the Utah delegation, the Colorado, or any other state, to get behind a comprehensive immigration reform that serves the interests of the country.
We'll see if we can get any movement there. Ali Noorani is the Executive Director of the National Immigration Forum. Ali, thanks for taking some time.